What's up, guys? This is That History Teacher 76, and today we're going to be in the kitchen making some historic food. We're talking about fire cakes, baby. Now, before you're like, Mr. McGuan, I love cake. Let me just explain real quick what the type of cake that we're talking about is. We're talking about fire cake. This is the type of food that American soldiers ate during the American Revolution. This was eaten at times of extreme necessity because there was nothing else for them to eat. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to make it and give it a try. What is fire cake? Fire cake's a food that was eaten by American soldiers during the American Revolution. It was just a few ingredients that were used, and so it was actually needed at a time when there wasn't much for the soldiers to eat.
How is it made?
So how was fire cake made? Well, there's only 3 ingredients, usually just 2. Traditionally, it was put on an open flame, but I'm not making a fire for this video. That's why I'm using the stove. It's just water and flour. Those were literally the only resources soldiers could get. Sometimes they would use salt too, right? So they'd mix in a little bit of salt. But for my world history buffs, salt is a hard resource to get a hold of, right? If we remember the West African kingdoms with Mali and Ghana, when they would do their silent barters to trade gold for salt, it shows how important salt was for people of the olden days, that they would literally trade gold just to get more salt.
Why didn't they get better food or ingredients?
And so why did American soldiers only get a few ingredients to make food? Well, it really was, when we talk about the American Revolution, most people assumed that they were going to lose, right? Because we were fighting one of the most powerful countries in the world, right? Not many people living in the American colonies wanted to participate in this. Not many supporters wanted to support the Americans financially because they weren't convinced that this was going to be something that, we would win. And so that's why starting out, this was the only resource they could get because it was the only support they could get from other people in other countries and things like that. All right, that's enough yapping. I'm just going to get to cooking now. So right here, this is how you make it. We have 1 3/4 cups flour. I feel like I used too much. 3/4 cups water, and then a couple tablespoons of salt. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And so I'm going to add it into this bowl. And then you just add the water until it kind of makes a paste, and you kind of want like a Play-Doh substance. And the ingredients, or the recipe I'm using, comes from the Mount Vernon website. If you don't know, Mount Vernon is George Washington's home. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this part. I'm just mixing it with my hand, whatever. But yeah, Mount Vernon is where George Washington's from. And so this comes from the website that maintains his house now as like a museum or whatever it is. That was my son. So that's what that is. Yeah, so Mount Vernon is the website where I got this recipe from. In that website, they actually bake their recipe. I'm not gonna bake it because it's summer and it's hot and I don't wanna have to deal with a hot oven and then a hot house. So I'm just gonna put it on the frying pan because whatever, it's not like I know what I'm doing anyways. It's probably not gonna taste good. So we're gonna give this a try. All right. Check this out. I think it's supposed to look like this after. I don't know because I've never done this before, but seems about right. And now I'm gonna start to heat up my pan, baby. I don't know the temperature. I usually just cook on medium. And I'm gonna add a little bit of oil. Don't wanna ruin the pans. Yeah, I'm gonna use oil. I don't wanna ruin my pans for this video, man. That was a lot of bit of oil. I forgot to add a little bit of salt. Can't forget the only flavor that's gonna be in here. I'm gonna pretend that I'm living in that time. A little Salt Bae action. All right, thank you. Is Salt Bae still cool? I sure hope so. Okay, I don't really I guess I'm gonna turn it into a biscuit now. So I'm gonna get a couple of even-sized biscuits and just get them on this pan because that oil seems like it's getting a little hot. This is what I think it's gonna look like going in. I'm sure someone else could do this much better than me, but you know what? It's all about the memories we make. What if US history was about the friends we made along the way? All right, on the pan with the oil. Okay, so right now I got the fire cake on the pan. You know, once again, this is just water, flour, a little bit of salt. I don't even know how much of the salt actually made it in the bowl. And traditionally, this would have been put on an open flame, right? I'm not doing it there, but I think the open flame would kind of give it more of a burnt reaction or something along those lines. So they also wouldn't have had oil, right? I'm gonna cook this. I'll come back when it's done. All right, so I kept cooking. I'm pretty sure I messed up. This is what my finished product looks like. I did use oil, so I kind of cheated there using oil. And also, I think I made my little fire cakes a little too thick. And so I kind of got whatever this is right here. This one almost looks like a fried chicken or something like that, or a biscuit. I don't even know if I cooked the flour all the way through, but I got a couple taste testers here. My kiddos. So mahogany and Bronson. So here you go. Go ahead and try these. Want to try it?
No, I'm not mahogany.
You're not mahogany? Okay. So let's give this a try.
Crispy.
Crispy? What do you think?
Cold.
Cold or car?
He said car.
He said car? What did you say?
Cold.
Car? All right, so it's a crispy, it's a car. I think it's disgusting. This is terrible. Honestly, the oil makes it a little bit better. Here, can you give this to mommy? Mommy might be able to give a good review. Yeah.
Another one, they taste good.
What do you think, babe? It tastes like what?
Homemade Play-Doh.
Yeah, it's just plain. There's just no flavor to it. The oil adds a little bit of flavor. I think if you truly made this correctly, without oil, in a fire, it'd be harder because the oil, I think, made it a little bit softer. I don't know anything about cooking, but it might be...
I love them. I love them. I want some chicken.
You loved it?
Yeah.
All right,
I
dude.
want chicken.
Wow. But I think if you make it in a fire, it would be, harder. It would be less flavorful because of the oil. But if this is all they have, you want more? All right. If this is... Oh, my gosh. If this is what they had, this is what they had, you know? I feel like if you go hunt a squirrel, you put it in it, now you got like a little meat pie. You know, if you have a friend who's rich, also a soldier, they're able to get cinnamon or sugar from the family. Adds a little bit more flavor. I personally can't imagine a world where I would have to eat something like this, but maybe that's the role that the soldiers play every day, right? So anyways, fire cake, try it if you want. I'm gonna take a bite of the chicken. Oh, no. Oh, that's gross. No, it's not gross. Flavorless. Anyways, if you guys like that, do the stuff you're supposed to do on YouTube channels or whatever. And thanks so much. Bye.